In this session, we will see OSI reference model. So this is also called as ISO OSI model. So why? Because this OSI reference model was developed by International Standard Organization. So this model is based on proposal developed by International Standard Organization as a first step towards international standardization of the protocols used in the various layers. So it was developed by Day and Zimmerman in 1983. Later it was revised in 1995 by scientists named Day. So this model is also called as ISO OSI model. So here OSI means Open System Interconnection. This model deals with connecting open systems, that is systems that are open for communication with other systems. Before going to OSI reference model, so first we have to understand three elements regarding this OSI reference model. So first one is the protocol, second one is the interface, and third one is the service. So first one is the protocol. So protocol is nothing but the connection between two corresponding layers from two hosts, that is from sender and receiver, such that a set of rules can be made between these two corresponding layers. Next, second one is the interface. So interface is nothing but, so from one layer to other layer, so interface provides a medium. So that is, using interface, one layer can transmit the data to other layer. Third one is the service. Each layer in the OSI model provides service to the next layer. So each layer performs its functionalities, so and it will transfer data to the next layer. So then only the next layer can perform its functionalities. So that's why each layer can provide service to the next layer. The entire model consists of 7 layers. So from application layer to physical layer, so each layer is providing services to the next layer. So these are the three elements regarding OSI model. So now we will see layer principles. So, OSI model is a 7-layered architecture. It consists of 7 layers. So application layer, presentation layer, session layer, transport layer, network layer, data link layer, and physical layer. The OSI model has these 7 layers as shown in the figure. The principles that were applied to arrive at the 7 layers can be briefly, I am summarizing now. So first one, a layer should be created where a different abstraction is needed. That is the first principle. Second one, each layer should perform a well-defined function. That is a distinct function. Next, third principle is the function of each layer should be chosen with an eye toward defining internationally standardized protocols. Next, fourth one, the layer boundaries should be chosen to minimize the information flow across the interfaces. Next, fifth one, the layers should not be very large. At the same time, the layers should not be very small. The layers should be in a way such that each layer has to perform a distinct functionality. So that is, the number of layers should be large enough that distinct functions need not be thrown together in the same layer out of the necessity, and also it should not be very small such that it is not at all performing a single distinct function also. It should not be very large, at the same time it should not be very small. the layer size should be in a way such that it has to perform a distinct functionality. It has to support a distinct functionality. So that is the fifth layer principle is saying. So these are the 5 layer principles. The principles that were applied to arrive the 7 layers can be briefly now I summarized. With this we can understand that these layer principles implemented in OSI model in an efficient way. So further when I will discuss each and every layer clearly, so then we can say that these 5 layer principles were implemented in this OSI model very clearly, so in an efficient way. So now so once I will explain this entire diagram, so entire figure I will explain. So here in this figure you will see sender and receiver, host A and host B. At the sender side you are having 7 layers, and at the receiver side also you are having 7 layers. So sender side, each layer is communicating with the receiver side corresponding layer by using protocol. So that is so application layer from the sender side is communicating with the application layer at the receiver side using application protocol. So presentation layer at the sender side is communicating with the presentation layer at the receiver side by using presentation protocol. So in the same way, session layer at the sender side is communicating with the session layer at the receiver side by using session protocol. So like that here 7 layers at the sender side are communicating with the 7 layers at the receiver side by using 7 different protocols. So and we are having interfaces also. So at the sender side we are having, so from 7 to 6, 7th layer to 6th layer, so one interface, that is 7 by 6 interface from application layer to presentation layer, and 6 by 5 interface, that is presentation layer to session layer. So again session layer to transport layer, 5 by 4 interface. So next transport layer to network layer, so that is 4 by 3 interface. Next network layer to data link layer, that is 3 by 2 interface. Next data link layer to physical layer, that is 2 by 1 interface. Like that we are having several interfaces at the sender side and the receiver side also. So interface is nothing but, as the you can see in the figure, so it is a double-ended arrow. So at the sender side the information passed from higher level to lower level, so that is from application to presentation layer, presentation layer to session layer, session layer to transport layer, transport layer to network layer, network to layer to data link layer, again data link layer to physical layer. In the same way, at the receiver side, the data can be transformed, the data can be passed, so from physical layer to data link layer, so again data link layer to network layer, network layer to transport layer, transport layer to session layer, session layer to presentation layer, presentation layer to application layer. So here the double-ended arrow here represents, at the sender side the data is passing from higher layer to lower level layer, so that is in down way. So at the receiver side the data is passing from lower level to higher level, that is in uplink, that is in upward direction. So the interface is nothing but it is a double-ended arrow. At the sender side the data is transmitting in downward direction, at the receiver side the data is in passing upward direction. So here we are having so interface like this. So next you observe from network layer to data link layer, so we are having 3 types of protocols, host router protocols. So this network layer protocols from network layer to network layer, sender network layer to receiver network layer, and from sender data link layer to receiver data link layer, sender physical layer to receiver physical layer. So these 3 layers are hardware layers. So that's why these are directly communicating with the physical transmission media, physical media. So that's why the physical device is the router mainly. So that's why these protocols are called as host router protocols. So network layer to network layer, so this protocol is called as network layer host router protocol. So data link layer, sender side data link layer to receiver side data link layer, we are having a protocol that is called as data link layer host router protocol. So in the same way, sender side physical layer to receiver side physical layer, we are having a protocol. So physical layer host router protocol. So these are the host router protocols we are having, 3 host router protocols. So then next you can observe, so the layers numbering started from physical layer to application layer. First layer is the physical layer, second layer is the data link layer, third layer is the network layer, fourth layer is the transport layer, fifth one is the session layer, sixth one is the presentation layer, seventh one is the application layer. These are the 7 layers. So in each and every layer, how the data units will be, how the in each layer the data is in which form. Now we will see. So the data units exchanged in the application layer is, so application protocol data unit. Next, the data unit exchanged in the presentation layer is presentation protocol data unit. So in the session layer is session protocol data unit. Transport layer is transport protocol data unit. In the network layer, the data is in the form of packets. In the data link layer, the data is in the form of frames. In the physical layer, the data is in the form of bits. So these are the data units. In the each and every layer, the data is in this form. In the application layer, application protocol data unit. Presentation layer, presentation protocol data unit. Session layer, session protocol data unit. Transport layer, transport protocol data unit. Network layer, the data is in the form of packets. Data link layer, the data is in the form of frames. Physical layer, the data is in the form of bits. Here the 7 layered architecture is divided into 2 parts. So first one is the software layers. So next one is the hardware layers. Software layers is nothing but in these 7 layers. So application layer, presentation layer, session layer, these 3 layers are called as software layers. So under network layer, data link layer, physical layers, these 3 layers are called as hardware layers. Why? Because so application is nothing but, so the application layer is directly communicating with the end user. So the end user is directly communicating with the system by using this application layer. That's why it is called as application layer. The name itself indicates the application. So the application may be email, or it may be Facebook, or it may be Twitter, whatever it may be. So the application is nothing but a user interface. It supports a protocol, HTTP hypertext transfer protocol. That protocol supports all type of websites mostly we used. So that is a Gmail, http://www.gmail.com, http://www.facebook.com, http://www.yahoo.com, like that. So mostly what we are using websites, mostly all websites are supported by this HTTP hypertext transfer protocol, that is in application layer. So that is nothing but the user is communicating with the system by using using the user interface directly. So that user interface is nothing but a software. So these presentation layer, session layer, these will provide services to the application layer. That's why these 3 layers are called as software layers. These 3 layers are concerned with the software. That's why we are calling these 3 layers as software layers. So in the same way, so network layer, data link layer, physical layer, so these 3 layers are called as hardware layers. Why? Because so this physical layer is connecting with the system hardware. So it is directly connecting to the system hardware. So the data link layer, network layer, both layers are communicating with the physical layer. So and these three layers are together. So these three layers are communicating with the host router protocols. So these two layers are communicating to the physical layer. So that's why these three are called as hardware layers. The middle one, transport layer, is the medium layer. So above three software layers, below three hardware layers, transport layer is the medium layer. So this is about the entire figure. So in this figure, you can observe clearly how the seven layered architecture uh, can be performed, can be implemented in real time. So with one example, I will explain how this seven layered architecture works in the real time. So at the sender side, assume I am sending an email. At the receiver side, one person is there and receiving that email. So at the sender side, I am opening Gmail account, my Gmail account, that comes under application layer. So in the application layer, I am communicating with the system by using user interface Gmail website. So and I am opening the mail and just I sent an email. So then what happened? Then what happens? So the application layer, the application layer concerns about the mail. So the entire HTTP protocol. So in turn, it concerned with the email. So that's why it supports the mail. The system will take the mail. So when I send an email, the system will take the mail from by the application layer. So then the from the application layer, the mail has to be sent to the presentation layer. Again, from presentation layer, what it will do? The presentation layer will check the syntax and semantics of my data. So my email. So if need, it will provide network security. That is, so it will provide security. So it will encrypt the data. So it will encrypt my message. That is, my message. My message. If I am sending any confidential information, means that has to be secret. That has to be provided security by the system. So the presentation layer will provide that security also. So it is providing security also, and it will also checks the syntax and semantics of the data. So it will encrypt my message. So with that, from sender to receiver, if any hacker wants to hack the data, so he can view only the encrypted message. The hacker cannot understand the encrypted message. So at the receiver side, the message will be decrypted and the receiver can only view the message. So in that way, data security can be provided by the presentation layer. So and again, the data can be passed to session layer. Session layer will provide three services: synchronization, token management, dialog control. So these three services provided by the session layer. So those what are those three services? All those we will see in depth when I will explain layer, each and every layer in depth. So then we will see. So from the presentation layer, the data can be passed to the session layer in the encrypted form. In the same way, the data can be passed to the transport layer in the encrypted form. So at the transport layer, what happens? The transport layer will take the data, and transport layer divide the data into segments. My email into segments. At the transport layer, my data encrypted message is there. That message can be divided into two parts. That is, the encrypted message is there. So along with that, the port number also will be there at the transport layer. Next, the data can be sent to network layer. So the network layer will take the data. So and in the same way, data link layer will take the data. So in the network layer, the data taken by the transport layer, that will be divided into packets. So the network layer again pass the data to the data link layer. The data link layer divide packets into frames. So again the data link layer send frames to the physical layer. The physical layer uh, takes the frames and divide frame into several bits. In the physical layer the data is in the form of bits, that is zeros and ones. Sender side, from the sender side to receiver side, the uh, system is communicating, system from the sender is communicating with the receiver by using physical transmission media. What is the physical transmission media? So if I sent an email, so the system will understand only binary language. So from this application layer to physical layer, the entire process transmits my email into binary format, that is zeros and ones. Those zeros and ones can be transmitted through physical transmission media and reach to the receiver physical layer. So physical transmission media, what are the physical transmission media we are having? Different physical transmission media we are having. So that is connection oriented, connectionless, that is wide and wireless, guided, unguided. The guided means wide, I can say. So the wide means twisted pair, coaxial cable, optical fiber. So these are the guided transmission media, connection oriented transmission media. So in the same way we are having connectionless transmission media also, unguided transmission media also. So those are nothing but the radio waves, microwaves, infrared waves, satellite. So these all are the connectionless, that is the unguided transmission media. So through this media, through these different types of media, the data can be sent from sender side physical layer to receiver side physical layer. So in the physical transmission media, that is in the wires or in the waves, the data is in the form of binary format only. The data is in the form of zeros and ones only. Again the receiver side physical layer will take the data in the form of zeros and ones. Again the physical layer will send the data to data link layer. Data link layer will take the data in the form of bits and it will combine the bits, and here the data is in the form of frames. Number of bits are combined together and form frames here. In the data link layer the data is in the form of frames. Again from data link layer to network layer the data can be transmit. So and in the network layer different frames can be combined and form packets. In the network layer the data is in the form of packets. The packets can be transferred to the transport layer. So and in the transport layer the packets can be combined and forms segments. In the transport layer the data is in the form of segments or transport protocol data unit also. So again that those segments can be sent to session layer. So again from session layer to presentation layer. So again from presentation layer to application layer. At the application layer what it will happen, so those segments can be combined. Those segments can be combined here. So and the message can be viewed before that at the transport layer. So the data can be reached and at the transport layer the data is in the form of segments. Then next is in the session layer the data will be provided different services. Session layer provides different services to the data. So the data can be sent to the presentation layer. So in the presentation layer what it will do, here the encoded message is there. From the sender side the encoded message came, encrypted message came. So both are same. Encoded encrypted means only nothing but for security purpose that original message was changed into a form such that should not be understandable to any other person except the receiver. So that's why the presentation layer, what it will do, so it will decrypt the data. So it will decrypt the data, so and it will send to the application layer. So then application layer, the end user, that is the receiver, at the application, from the application layer. So by using Gmail website, Gmail site, at the sender side, sorry, at the sender side, sender will send an email, and at the receiver side, the receiver open email, and he can view the message by using the application layer. Application layer, it provides various applications. It supports HTTP protocol. In turn, it supports Gmail, Yahoo, these Facebook, all websites. That's why using this interface in the application layer, the receiver can view the message in a secured way. In this way, from the sender side to receiver side, the data is transmitting. So this entire process can be done in very short time period. So then only you can receive email within fraction of seconds only. From the sender side, if I send an email, at the receiver side, within fraction of seconds, the receiver can view the message. So within that, the middle process is this: the sender, I am sending the data, the receiver is receiving the email. So I am sending an email, receiver receiving an email. So within fraction of seconds, how the data is transmitting. So these entire process can be done within a fraction of seconds only. So that is the real time application. One application we can see to understanding the OSI model. So it is about the OSI model diagram. So then now we will see each and every layer. So what is its functionality, so what each and every layer is doing, so what services it is providing to the other layer. So these all things we will see now. So we will see now each and every layer in depth, transmitting raw bits over communication channel. So the design issues have to do with making sure that when one side sends one bit, that is from the sender side, if the sender sends one bit, it is received by the receiver as one bit only, not as 0 bit. Second one is data link layer. So the data link layer, it is having 4 functions. First one is services provided to the network layer. Second one is framing techniques. So how the data link layer divides data into different frames. So what are the different methods used for framing. Next, third one is error control. Data link layer is having the responsibility, and it is responsible for reliable transmission of data. Reliable means the data has to be transmitted, the frames has to be transmitted without any errors. That is the third one, that is error control. This can be achieved by error detection. For that we are having several methods are there. So and again error correction. So for that also we are having Hamming code method. So for error detection we are having checksum, parity check, and cyclic redundancy check. So these are the different methods for error detection. So and Hamming code is for error correction. So next, fourth functionality of the data link layer is flow control. This flow control is nothing but from sender to receiver, the data has to be sent in a proper way. So that is, it is data link layer is how to keep a fast transmitter from drowning a slow receiver in data. Some traffic regulation mechanism is often needed to let the transmitter know how much the buffer space the receiver has at the moment. Frequently, this flow regulation and error handling both can be integrated. That is, this error control and flow control both can be integrated. This is about the network layer. Next, third one is this is about the data link layer. Next, third one is network layer. So the network layer controls the operation of subnet. The key design issue is determining how packets are routed from source to destination. So that process is nothing but the routing. So there are several routing mechanisms we will see in this network layer. So that is shortest path routing, hierarchical routing, distance vector routing, broadcast routing, and multicast routing. So the second issue in this network layer is congestion. If too many packets are presented in the subnet at the same time, that leads to congestion. The control of such congestion belongs to network layer only. The congestion can be controlled here by two techniques. One is the congestion prevention policies. Before congestion occurs, so using different prevention policies, we will prevent the congestion. So that is the first one. Next, after the congestion occurs, using different control algorithms, we will control the congestion. That is congestion control. So the other one is quality of service to be provided. That is delay, transmit, jitter, etc. These all should be performed by network layer only. These all are the functionalities of the network layer. So these functionalities, each and every functionality implementing is difficult. That's why these all we can call it as network layer design issues also, network layer issues also we can call it as. So when a packet has to travel from one network to other network to get its destination, many problems can arise. The addressing used by the second network may be different from the first one. The second one may not accept the packet at all because it is too large. The protocols may differ and so on. See, these are the different problems we will see in the network layer. It is up to the network layer to overcome all these problems to allow heterogeneous networks to be interconnected. This is about the network layer. Next, fourth one is the transport layer. The basic function of the transport layer is to accept data from above, so and split it into smaller units if need be, and pass these to the network layer. So and ensure that all the pieces arrived correctly at the other end, that is at the receiver side. Furthermore, all this must be done efficiently and in a way that isolates the upper layers from the inevitable changes in the hardware technology. So below the transport layer, network layer, data link layer, physical layer, these all comes to hardware layers. These are all known as hardware layers. These all related to hardware technology. So above the transport layer, three layers: session layer, presentation layer, application layer. These three layers belong to software. That's why these are called as software layers. The transport layer is the medium layer between these two types of layers, software layers and hardware layers. The transport layer also determines what type of service to provide to the session layer and ultimately to the users of network. The transport layer is true end-to-end layer all the way from source to destination. In other words, a program on the source machine carries on a conversation with similar program on the destination machine using the message headers and control messages. In the lower layers, the protocols are between each machine and its immediate neighbors, so are not between the ultimate source and destination machines, which may be separated by many routers. That is, in this transport layer, we will mainly see two types of protocols: transmission control protocol, user datagram protocol. So transmission control protocol is a connection oriented protocol. User datagram protocol is a connectionless protocol. Based on the necessity, which protocol so we want to communicate, we want to use is the so that is for that particular case, for that particular communication, that protocol is best. So then we will use that protocol. For connection oriented TCP we will use transmission control protocol. For connection less type of transmission we will use UDP protocol. So next one is the session layer. So this is the fifth layer. So in OSI model, session layer is the fifth layer. The session layer allows users on different machines to establish sessions between them. Sessions offer various services. Sessions are nothing but various services. Session layer provides services to the OSI model, services to the data. So what it is received from the transport layer. So for that it will provide services, or what it receives data from the presentation layer at the sender side. So it will provide some services to the data. So what are the services? First one is the dialog control, next token management, next synchronization. These are the three services provided by the session layer. So what is meant by dialog control? Dialog control is nothing but keeping track of whose turn it is to transmit. Next, token management. Token management is nothing but preventing two parties from attempting the same critical operation at the same time. Further, token management can be used. Next, the third technique is synchronization. Synchronization is nothing but, I can say simply matching. Synchronization is nothing but matching from the sender side which data you are sending, that has to be received by the receiver exactly. The same information has to be received by the receiver. So that is nothing but synchronization. For that, what can be done in synchronization? Checkpointing long transmissions to allow them to continue from where they were after a crash. Here in synchronization, checkpointing can be done. So that checkpointing is long transmissions. For longer transmissions, checkpointing is there to allow them to continue from where they were after the crash, so or any power failure. So these are the services provided by the session layer. Next, sixth layer is presentation layer. The presentation layer is concerned with syntax and semantics of the information transmitted. The presentation layer checks the syntax and semantics of the data. So for which data it checks the syntax and semantics of the data? From the application layer. So what data has to be transmitted to the presentation layer? The presentation layer checks the syntax and semantics of the data. So it also provides network security. At the sender side, the data has to be encrypted, and at the receiver side, in the presentation layer, the data has to be decrypted. What is this encryption and decryption? So this encryption and decryption is nothing but, so during the transmission, in order to avoid the data to be hacked by the hacker, so in order to avoid such cases, the data has to be encrypted at the sender side and the data has to be decrypted at the receiver side. That is nothing but the original data what we are sending, so that data has to be changed to other form. So the other format of the data has to be sent from the sender to receiver. So the other format received by the receiver, and the receiver decrypt the data, so that is change the received data to the original form, and the receiver will take the original data. So that is nothing but the encryption and decryption. So this is for the network security. During the transmission, the data has to be in a way such that it has to be in a secure way. So that is also responsibility of the presentation layer. Next, seventh layer is the application layer. So the application layer contains variety of protocols that are commonly needed by users. One widely used protocol is HTTP protocol, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So which is the basis for World Wide Web. So for World Wide Web, this HTTP is the basis. So for any major websites what we are using, so the protocol is HTTP only. So you can observe http://www.google.com, http://www.gmail.com, http://www.facebook.com, like that. Mostly what we are using different websites all comes under HTTP protocol only. So this application layer supports the HTTP protocol, hypertext transfer protocol. The application layer provides an user interface by which the end user directly communicating with the system. So the application layer is nothing but the last layer. So that is nothing but it provides the user interface. So by using the user interface, user communicate with the system. So that is nothing but I am communicating with the system by using Google website. So I am communicating with the system by using Gmail account, so or Yahoo Mail, so or Facebook, so Twitter, like the different application. The name itself indicates the application layer provides different applications. So different applications are nothing but different user interfaces. How the end user is interacting with the system, that is nothing but the application layer main responsibility. So the application layer contains and it supports the protocol, HTTP protocol. So that is the HTTP protocol is nothing but in order to support all these different types of website what we are using mostly. So on the application layer also contains some other protocols like file transfer, network news, telnet, these type of different protocols. These are also supported by the application layers. These are the 7 layers in the OSI model. I hope you understood about these layers. So this OSI model is a very important concept. I can say this is the heart of the computer networks. Why? Because to understand computer networks, OSI model is a very critical role it plays. So if you understand OSI model perfectly, each and every layer perfectly, so then you can know the computer networks very easily. So if you are having the basic knowledge of this OSI model, if you understand the OSI model clearly, so what are the functions of the OSI model, what are the different layers in each and every layer, so what is the role of each and every layer, so how it is providing services to the other layer, so what are the specific functions of each and every layer. So if you understand this each and every layer functionalities, so then you can easily understand the further concepts in the computer networks. Why? Because this all computer networks contains for each and every layer what we discussed here, except presentation layer and session layer, remaining all layers contains various tasks, various concepts. For each and every layer we are having number of concepts. So to understand the number of concepts, I can say it is an abstract. For each and every layer now what we discussed, so that is the abstract for that layer. Those are the key points for that particular layer. Each and every key point, again, that is a concept. When we go through the layer, when we go through the further, in the further classes, in the further sessions, we will see each and every layer functionalities, each function as a topic. That's why it is a heart of computer networks.